There's a place in the middle of Europe where 13 or 14-year-old girls are taken to the center of a busy, noisy market to be officially shown to suitors, and the prices range from 20,000 to 50,000 leva, which is the currency of Bulgaria, about $27,000. Yes, that's exactly right. This is the strange story of a market that is still held right now in Bulgaria, and it's called the bride market. Today, we're going to get to know this unusual market and uncover the secret of how such a market still takes place in the heart of Europe in the modern world. Throughout recorded history, different ethnic groups have lived side by side on Earth and formed distinct communities in the specific areas where they settled. Almost every human society has its own truly unique culture, cherished traditions, and a particular lifestyle that truly sets it apart and makes it distinctive. The Roma people, who are sometimes referred to as gypsies, are indeed one of these remarkable communities. These people have existed for hundreds of years and have always maintained their own unique way of life in different countries. They are interested in fortune-telling and practice it wherever they are. Their men are mostly engaged in music, blacksmithing, and animal husbandry. But both men and women have a special love for music and dance, and they truly enjoy dancing. The roots of the Roma go back to northern India. The people we now know as Roma or Gypsies are actually of Indian descent. These people migrated in groups from India, Afghanistan, and Pakistan toward the west around the year 420 AD. Countries like England, Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, and Turkey are among the many places where the Roma people now live. The total Roma population in the world is estimated to be around 10 million people. But the migration of the Roma had various reasons. Some researchers say that the Roma were forced to migrate during the invasions of Mahmud of Ghazni in the 11th century, and later during the Mongol and Turkic invasions, as vulnerable minorities trying to escape war and slavery. Of course, many Roma were captured by kings or local rulers along their migration routes. For example, in Eastern Europe, like Romania, the Roma were legally enslaved until the 19th century and were even bought and sold. There's another theory that says some Roma were taken west as mercenary soldiers, forced laborers, or skilled blacksmiths for various armies, because the Roma had special and valuable skills like intricate blacksmithing, captivating music, efficient tent making, and expert horse handling, which made armies truly need them. In short, over time, the Roma spread across many different countries because their nomadic lifestyle and their essential jobs inherently required them to constantly move around. But the important point is that in most countries, the Roma face discrimination. People in society usually look at them negatively and don't interact with them much. The Roma themselves also usually don't have much interaction with the rest of society. For example, they often pull their children out of school early, live in their own specific neighborhoods, and usually marry within their own community. These characteristics cause them to become separated from the main society. Now, let's talk about Bulgaria. In Bulgaria too, the Roma live separately from the rest of the people. But what makes things even stranger is that they have a peculiar tradition. The bride market, which is more specifically called the Kalaidze bride market, starts in a city called Stara Zagora, a city with a population of about 150,000 people. About 20,000 of them are Roma, and the bride market is also held in this very city. The Kalaidze, or the tinsmith clan, whose name means tinsmith or pot maker, only marry within their own group. It's not like they can marry someone outside the group, especially not a non-Roma Bulgarian. For a Kalaidze girl, the bride market is the most important event of her life because it's the only chance she has to look for a promising and wealthy husband. In fact, Kalaidze girls aren't really allowed to interact much with boys for fear they might lose their virginity. If that happens, no Kalaidze man would be willing to marry them. Maybe to many of you, this tradition seems really backward and primitive, but the Kalaidze see it as a part of their culture. Strangely enough, on the day of the bride market, there's a special excitement in Kalaidze households. Kalaidze girls look forward to this event all year and are genuinely excited about it. They try to look as stylish and beautiful as possible. That's why every year, they wear a brand new flashy dress and expensive shoes. They deck themselves out with lots of gold and jewelry, put on plenty of makeup to look attractive and well-groomed, and shine at the market. The primary goal of these young girls and their respective families is to proudly showcase their inherent beauty to the groom's family, thereby demonstrating that they are indeed financially well off and represent a truly excellent match for a prospective marriage. Consequently, formal studying is not very common among the girls of Kaleji, and it is quite rare for any of them to even successfully obtain a high school diploma. Kaleji families pull their daughters out of school after elementary so they can prepare them for marriage, basically getting them ready to be put up for sale in the market. What's strange is that they do this very openly, right in public markets, and the Bulgarian government doesn't do anything to stop it. These markets are held at specific times of the year, and people come from different parts of Bulgaria to buy girls. As long as the girls are children, their parents make decisions for them. Of course, this is a blatant violation of human rights, the right to decide someone else's fate. In the market, the most important thing is to find a good groom for the girls. The price of a girl in the market depends on her age and beauty. For example, the price of an 18-year-old girl is higher than that of a 25-year-old girl. Families, too, feel very proud if a high price is offered for their daughter, and they boast about it everywhere. Or if they themselves got married this way in the past, they proudly say, "Back then, I was worth such and such amount." On the other hand, the price of each girl depends on the boy who wants to buy her, and even on whether the girl likes the boy or not. If the girl likes the boy, they might ask for a lower price. For example, 10 or 20,000 left. So, the Bulgarian Kaledzis are not only unbothered by being valued with money, but they're actually happy about it. Another interesting point is that blue eyes are rarer in Bulgaria compared to the rest of Europe, and this has a big impact on the bride's price. Kaleji girls like to go to discos and come home late at night, but they're not allowed to do such things. Still, the Kaledzis are open-minded when it comes to technology. The young people are always on Facebook and Instagram with their smartphones. Girls can also wear whatever clothes they like. For example, they can wear stylish, flashy clothes, trendy shoes, and short skirts that show their legs. Maybe it's because the boys' tastes have changed. However, when it comes to choosing a spouse, the Kaledzis are very conservative and close-minded. As I mentioned, marriage only happens within the tribe, and the groom has to pay a very large bride price to the bride's family. The more beautiful and attractive the girl is, and the better her reputation and status, the higher her price will be. Despite this closed-minded attitude towards marriage, you should know that nowadays, in the bride markets, forced marriage is not an issue. Kaleji girls happily go to the market and don't seem unhappy about it. Maybe it's because they aren't very present in society and are afraid they might never get married. So, they see these markets as an opportunity for themselves. Sometimes, the price of brides reaches 50,000 lev, which is about $25,000. And for a Kaleji family in Bulgaria, that can be considered a fortune. Bulgaria is one of the lower income countries in Europe, and the value of the dollar is high there. That's why money is something very important for people there. Even though the Kaledzis and Roma people in general are good folks, Bulgarians don't have a good opinion of them and say that the Roma just find an empty plot of land and build houses without a permit. Then, they don't pay for water and electricity and basically use the country's resources without paying for them. However, the cost of these things end up being covered by the taxes of ordinary Bulgarian people. The Roma live in neighborhoods that are similar to slums. These neighborhoods are among the deprived and underdeveloped areas, and the government hasn't really invested in them. A lot of the roads have damaged asphalt, the paint on the houses is peeling, and their green spaces have disappeared due to neglect. When you look at the things they use in their homes or the houses themselves, their living conditions don't seem very promising. Their quality of life is kind of below average. The unemployment rate is also around 80%. In the past, the Kaleji or the tinsmith tribe used to work in repairs and would travel all over Bulgaria fixing people's copperware. They would repair anything you could think of. Coffee pots, frying pans, pots, kettles, pitchers. And they did all this work by hand. But nowadays, with all the machinery and technology around, this job doesn't bring in much income anymore. In the past, there was work for everyone, but now things have gotten really bad. People have thrown away their copper dishes and only kept a few copper pots and pans for making jam. Now, almost all the men in Kalaji have had to learn other jobs. For example, they install gutters, where their metalworking skills come in handy. This job pays for the family's expenses, but it's dangerous. If they fall off the roof, who will provide for their wife and kids and take care of them? Because of these circumstances, the Roma of Bulgaria, especially the Kalaji, have this unique tradition of the bride market, which they hold every year. This unusual custom can help these poor communities save their lives, and they see it as a big opportunity. You might have seen in other cultures too that when a boy and girl want to get married, the boy's family gives a bride price to the girl's father. But among the Kalaji of Bulgaria, this has completely turned into a business transaction. In other cultures, at least the boy and girl know each other beforehand, and then the topic of marriage and bride price comes up. But among the Kalaji, the families of the bride and groom meet each other for the first time at the bride market. The fact that people are bought with money is already upsetting enough. But what's even stranger is that two people who have never seen each other before are supposed to get to know each other only after getting married. And here's the reason for that. Kalaji families don't like their daughters to make friends with or socialize with anyone. In their view, friendships and romantic relationships put the family's culture at risk and lead to gossip and a tarnished reputation within the tribe. That's why they usually don't let their daughters study beyond elementary school. And both Kalaji boys and girls are typically taken to these markets at the age of 13 or 14 to get married. Now imagine a girl who has never even spoken to a boy suddenly finding herself in the middle of this crowded market with 1,000 eyes on her, and then becoming the wife of someone she's never seen before. There's no sign of romantic love here. The families are looking to make a deal. The bride's family wants the groom to be as wealthy as possible. That's why the groom's family shows up in old model cars like Mercedes to look wealthy. Even the bride's family tries to make themselves look rich. For example, they wear as much gold and valuables as they can. The story of this market isn't just a simple transaction. There are a lot of hidden beliefs and fears behind all of this. But even with all this, you shouldn't look at the bride market of the Kalatis entirely negatively. At these markets, there are local dances and people socialize with each other. You could even consider it a special kind of festival for the Kalatis of Bulgaria. Plus, some people who have no intention of getting married just come here to have a good time. People are generally here with a smile, and some even find their match right at this place. The huge crowd here also shows just how popular this market is. On the other hand, since the Kalati bride market is the only bride market in Europe, and Bulgaria is a European country too, this market can impact the economy of the Kalati people in the city of Stara Zagora, because every year, lots of people from all over Europe come to see this market up close. With activities like this, the Kalati can preserve their culture in the city. Here, the only criteria are looks and money. Although you could say that this kind of marriage is actually a truly win-win deal. But after an agreement is reached, the celebration is held at the bride's house. The celebrations are held with dancing and music, which are an integral part of Gypsy culture. In this way, even though there generally isn't a positive view of the Kalati and other people see them as uneducated and unemployed, the Kalati have tried to preserve their culture and continue their traditions. They're less interested in getting rich and more focused on enjoying the moment, and they're happy in their own world. The bride market is like a big celebration. Traditional Kalati music, with its lively and fast rhythms, fills the air. Some people are dancing, some are haggling over prices, and some have just come to watch and have a good time. Still, my personal opinion is that, whatever you call it, this market is a kind of human buying and selling, which means that boys, and especially girls, don't have much choice and can't shape their own destinies. I mean, what I want to say is that even though these traditions are rooted in culture and history, it's a natural right for every girl and boy to choose for themselves who they love and who they want to spend their life with. What do you think? Write in the comments whether you think this market is a kind of injustice to girls or a way to preserve culture. The story of the Bulgarian bride market reminds us that even in the modern world, traditions and cultures can persist strongly, and sometimes they might even differ from our contemporary values. It's important to respect cultures, but at the same time, we shouldn't forget about people's rights. No one knows exactly when this ceremony started. The elders say it's at least several centuries old, but these days, it's also possible to arrange meetings before the bride market. A lot of girls and boys get to know each other beforehand on Facebook and Instagram, and they arrange to meet at the bride market. So this way, they also have a say in their own marriage. The Kalaidze bride market is a mix of virtual romance and quick, instant matchmaking. It's held every year on the last Sunday of August. The time and place are fixed, but everything else is pretty much spontaneous. Although in the past, if the offer was really good, the girl was forced to marry. But now, if parents force their daughter, there's a risk she might run away. Although life as a housewife is already predetermined for a Kalaidze girl, and women have no role in the working life of the Kalaidze community. At least, though, the girl is allowed to choose her own husband. Still, every now and then, girls and boys who want to escape these traditions end up running away. That is, some boys really try to take the bride they love with them. If the girl loses her virginity, no other boy will be willing to marry her, and the boy she loves can marry her for a very small amount of money. So, the desire for freedom and self-determination has led even young people from Kalaidze, with their smartphones, Facebook, and Instagram, to go searching for their soulmate. And in this way, the traditions of the Kalaidze are gradually disappearing with the changing times.